Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be installing coilovers, but not to mine. We're going to be doing it on the Jasper Conrad that I was fitting the steering wheel to not so long back. He has chosen Max Peden rods coilovers, height adjustable and preload adjustable. The install for this is the same for the Mark 1 and Mark 2, the only difference being the stabilizer drop links. So if you have got a Mark 2, my suggestion is to buy all 4 drop links before you start, because these can be a pain and most of the time you need to break them or cut them to get them off. When you are buying coilovers, whether they're new or second hand, make sure you have your C spanners, because without these you're not going to be able to adjust the height or the preload. Time to get fitting them. My suggestion would be to start with the rear coilovers. There's a common problem with all the Mark 1 and Mark 2 MX5s where the bottom bolt in the lower wishbone just doesn't come out. There's a captive nut inside the wishbone and sometimes the welds on those break, and all you do is spin the bolt round and round and never get anywhere. So start off with there before you go any further. Let's get it jacked up and take the wheels off. The top bolts are in the boot behind all the carpet and tucked down out the way. Be careful not to drop your bolts that way, because they will disappear inside the chassis. Next is to remove the drop links, but these probably aren't going to come undone. Nope. Nope. To get the whole suspension low enough, we need to separate the hub from the top wishbone. There we go. Now everything should be nice and free. Push down on the hub. Pull it out. Now that both the coilovers are set and lubricated up, it's now time to put it back in, and everything is just the reverse of what it was taking it out. The only difference is the coilovers are different lengths, so it should be a lot easier to go back in. When you're putting it back together, make sure you lube up all the bolts. Before we put the new drop link in, it's time to do the other side. Doing the fronts are very similar. When you undo these, it will drop away, so watch out. The front is the same. You want to remove the anti-roll bar drop links. We're not even going to try undo them, we're just going to grind them off. We got the top cut off, but we're leaving the bottom on until we've got the shock out of the way. Last thing to do is remove this shock bolt. If you do have one with ABS, you'll also need to remove this bolt for the ABS wire on the back of the shock. It's a bit tight getting out of here, but stand on the hub, pull it down and pull the top of the shock out, but watch out of the wing. new change of plan, it won't come out, so we're going to disconnect the ball joint from the wishbone. It's a bolt there that we can get to now the suspension strut is out of the way, and a nut and bolt there. Remember when you're putting your coilovers in on the front to put this bracket towards the back of the car. make sure your lock rings aren't rubbing on the drive shaft or anything else, and make sure your lock rings on the front aren't fouling on the upper wishbone. That is the coilover install finished. Remember, you will need an alignment after this, as your tracking won't be right. There are a few things you got to look out for before you go for a drive. The lock rings hitting on the drive shaft, or the coilover assembly hitting on the drive shaft on the rear. The lock rings or the coilover assembly hitting on the upper wishbone on the front. And make sure none of your wheels are catching any of the arches, or else you're going to ruin your paintwork. I have seen stories where people have chosen TA Technics or similar cheaper coilovers where they don't have the adjustable cup at the bottom. Those coilovers do tend to hit the drive shaft when you go low enough. And there are lots of coilover choices out there for you. My car, for example, has the HSD Mono Pros. But before you go choosing your coilovers, do some research first. There's plenty of information online, and no doubt someone has already fitted them. So work out what's best for you. If this video helped you install your coilovers, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.